Hey everyone, welcome to Old Iron Garage and thank you for tuning in. So tonight on the bench I have a new project. It's one that I'm hoping will be a quick and easy project. I'm hoping to have it knocked out either tonight or tomorrow. If you hear a knocking noise in the background, that is my recently installed diesel heater. Yep, decided to go diesel. I was going to go propane to get away from heating with kerosene because that has been very costly the last few years at around $6 a gallon. So was going to go with propane because I had a nice wall mount natural gas / propane heater. Decided not to go that route and got a diesel heater for Christmas from the wife. Anyways, so let's take a look at this project. And here it is. If you've been watching my channel and watching videos, you will have seen this saw in a recent video. A little while back, I brought this saw home. This saw was part of a deal that I had found on Marketplace. There was like, 3 string trimmers and 3 chainsaws. I really just wanted the one string trimmer, and then I realized when I got there, the other string trimmer, I wanted that too, or one of the other 2 string trimmers. It was a rebranded Homelight string trimmer, and it was rebranded as a Craftsman, but it was a Homelight through and through. Anyways, and I was going to give this away for parts or repair, more than likely parts, because that's really all it should be good for, but decided to source some used parts off of eBay for cheap and try to bring this thing back to life. This thing, the carburetor is not even bolted down, guys. It's missing the hardware to even mount the carburetor, but out of curiosity, I shot some 2-cycle fuel down the intake, right down the yap, and pulled her over, and she fired up and ran for a little bit as I bottle fed it right into the intake briefly, and I was like, man, this thing wants to live. Engine sounded healthy, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to bring this thing back to life. It's hard to tell, but it does have a Homelight bar on it, an old original Homelight bar. It got a little bit rusty here because while I've been working on, there you can see it a little bit better. While I've been working on cleaning and organizing the garage, this actually ended up sitting outside, and it was supposed to just be overnight. It ended up being more like a week. It was covered up, but the moisture did get to the bar. So I am going to be salvaging this bar to go on a Homelight saw. I'm going to try to clean it up a little bit without taking off the lettering. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. This video is about reviving this old saw. Ooh, there's something I overlooked. Missing an anti-vibe mount in here. That's something I can worry about later. I'm just going to work on it with the parts that I have, which is, most of them are here. Some used parts from eBay and a carburetor kit that I'm hoping is correct. Anyways, yeah, so let's dive in. All right, so let's take a look at it. One thing I wanted to mention is that both you and I will be able to see better now here while I'm working on stuff on the bench because I updated the lighting in here. It's part of the garage updates I've been doing lately while cleaning and organizing my garage. You will see the updated lighting in another video when I do my next update on my garage cleaning, organizing, and updates. So, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah, it's missing some stuff. The carburetor's here. I googled it. This is indeed one of the correct carburetors that would have come on this saw. This is a Zama C1Q carburetor. I'm going to set that to the side. So in here we're missing, obviously, you know, the hardware to mount the carburetor, air filter cover, and on this model there's an air filter cover. In the air filter cover there's a choke that slides back and forth, so that's missing, as well as the linkage, and it looks like one square nut that goes in here. Let's hope that came in the hardware, used hardware that I ordered from eBay. I noticed in the handle here there's a screw that's missing. Something is messed up inside the handle because it's not... Never mind, the throttle cable is hooked up. Never mind, it is functioning. It's just there was no, you know, there's no carburetor with a spring to pull it back. So forget that. The throttle is working. Yep, it is working as it should. What else? Looks like it might be able to use some fuel lines. It is missing this assembly right here, which is the oh, what do you call that? The chain brake. The lever that comes up with the chain brake. That is missing. And I'm not super familiar with McCulloch saw models. I've only worked on a couple of McCullochs really. So I don't know what exactly hooks it up to the chain brake. But I'm hoping what I have in this box over here is everything I need. So obviously, since I'm going to be harvesting this bar and chain, it's going to be missing a bar and chain. But Black Friday sales, I actually ordered a bar and chain that's supposed to fit this and be the right size. It is an Oregon brand bar and chain kit, so we'll see if that fits. My end goal is to be able to test this and, you know, cut a couple pieces of wood with it, make sure it works right, and then send it down the road, sell it. It is also needing a primer bulb, because that is the bulb part, the rubber bulb part is falling off, broken off. Let's see if there's any fuel in here. So, in the past, here in the garage, I've had, you know, some cheap flashlights. They work, but at a previous job that I had, my last welding job, I was gifted from my employer this really nice Streamlight, which is a good name brand, Streamlight Stylus Pro pen inspection light. And very nice light. I needed this at my last job. That's why they gifted all of us welders one of these. At my current job, I don't really need it. I find that I never use it. So I brought it home to use here in the shop, here in the garage. There appears to be a little bit of fuel in the bottom. So, don't know if there's any water in that, but I'm going to end up draining it. Let's see what we have for bar and chain oil. The seal for both caps appears to be good. It looks good anyway. There's not really much bar and chain oil to speak of in here. And that's fine, because honestly, I'd probably try to dump it out in case there's, you know, any water in there. Alright, well let's push this to the side and see what we have for parts. So before the video, I did because this did have to sit outside longer than I intended, and it was originally covered, but the cover blew off. You know, it did get wet. That intake was open. I filled that intake with, and I filled it with quite a bit of penetrating lubricant, penetrating oil, and just so it was coming out the exhaust. Then I took out the spark plug and just pulled and pulled, kind of emptied the thing out. Then I put a bunch down the cylinder and with the spark plug out and pulled and just kind of flushed out the cylinder real good too. And yeah, I've just doused all the internals with penetrating fluid and just really flushed it out. So should be fine. I mean, it was out there less than not more than a week, so should be all right. Anyways, carb kit. We already know we have that. So I was gonna order just the how does this work? Just the chain brake assembly, but didn't know exactly what all was missing because I didn't really have everything there to start with to look at. So I just went ahead and for a couple dollars more just ordered this whole side cover with complete chain brake assembly to know for sure that I have what I need. This appears to have the two mounting screws that go back here. That's nice. The decal is in a little bit better shape than the other one, so we'll probably just throw this whole cover on. It'd be easier to do that anyways. We have a air filter cover with both screws. That's very nice. I was able to get most of this from one seller, at one eBay seller. The majority of this came from one eBay seller. I will list off what all came from that seller, and I communicated with them and asked if I could get a break on shipping, and because I agreed to order as many parts as I could from them, they cut me a good break on shipping, and so then I was able to save even more, which kind of helped me to justify doing this. I don't have to worry about a kerosene heater back here now, so I'll pick it up later. So in here we have, kind of hard to see, the bag's a little dirty, but we have the choke that's missing, as well as, oh, there is no linkage. The linkage is part of that plastic choke handle. It's built into it. There's no separate linkage. A bunch of hardware. That could come in handy. We have the, there's like a plastic piece. I don't really know what you even call it. It's a plastic piece that goes in. It bolts down on top of the carburetor. And then the air filter goes on that, I believe. So all that, the side cover and chain brake, the air filter cover, this doodad, and the choke lever and hardware all came from one eBay seller. Then there's the carb kit. That came from Amazon. They came from the Amazonian people. And in here we should have yep, that's it in there. Brand new air filter along with two brand new cork gaskets for the caps, the fuel cap and the bar and chain oil cap. If I don't need those, which I don't think I will, those look to be in great shape, then I won't use them. I will just throw them on a shelf and maybe someday they'll fit something else. But yeah, if I need them, I'll use them. If not, then I won't. So yeah, let's dive in. Just gonna shove all that up there out of the way for now. First thing I'm gonna do, make this thing easier to work on, I'm gonna remove this bar and chain. I do believe the chain brake is engaged or something, because this, unless it's just the roller tip on this bar that's seized, this thing does not move. And the one time I had it fired up and running briefly, bottle feeding it right down into the open intake, in the video where I brought this home, or in the video when I brought this home, that chain did not want to go, and the saw was just bogged down whenever you hit the gas because the chain wouldn't go. So, anywho's, come on now, here we go. Hoping this is standard, not metric. Yeah, standard. Ah, come on now. There we go. I don't know exactly how far I'm going to dive into this saw. I may tear it all the way down and just clean it all out. It is a pain in the butt, but I really do like to do that when I can. Daggone it, let go. Magnet tray. We have a couple of screws back here. You know, I might have been wrong on, I feel like I'm not wrong. I'm gonna have to look at I'm gonna have to pause the video and look at some pictures online. But, so I said there's like an anti-vibe bushing that's missing here. It has a spring in there that works for the anti-vibe, but it just looks, and I'll get you in here at some point and, so you can get a closer look. It just looks like there's something missing there. Like there's supposed to be something there that's not. Like, you know, normally there would be some kind of rubber bushing for an anti-vibe system on a chainsaw. There we go. So if this saw constantly leaks and leaves a huge mess on my bench, it's because of all the penetrating oil that I put into this thing earlier. I just wanted to make sure it was good and flushed out. There was some water in there. So I just want to make sure it was good and flushed out. Also, just in case there were to have been any debris in the saw, because it sat like that with the intake open before I got it, I wanted to make sure that it was good and flushed out of any possible debris. You know, I don't even know why, because I'm not a McCulloch guy. Like, I have an appreciation for McCullochs because they're a great saw, just like, you know, just like a lot of the other old saws, like the old Polands and stuff like that. But this thing's kind of growing on me, and I don't know why. Sometimes just the strangest pieces of equipment will kind of grow on me a little bit, and I have no idea why. Okay, so, nope, there wasn't even a chain brake in there to begin with, which I'd kind of wondered, because you would see the band come up out of here, but, I don't know, someone deleted on that for some reason. Don't know why. But, so it is just the roller sprocket on the nose of the bar that is frozen up. Sometimes these chains are just such a joy to try to get out of here. There we go. Now, the chain. The chain is a little rusty, guys, but I don't think it's beyond saving. It might still work, but like, I don't know. She's tight in 2 places, it looks like. Maybe just 1 place. I'm gonna, off camera, I'm gonna hit this with some penetrating oil and just let her sit for now and try to get it freed up and moving a little bit. And we'll probably end up degreasing it and then soaking it in some Evapo Rust for a couple days or a week or something. I also have to take into account how much life is left on these teeth. There's enough that it's worth saving if it can be reasonably saved. This bar is not seized. The roller is rolling. Strange. Bar is straight. It's not worn down too badly. This could make a good bar with some cleaning up. I'm just going to go ahead and hit her with some penetrating oil here. Work that in. And then set it to the side. Alright. You know, before I do anything, I think I'm just going to go ahead and split this saw open and give her a good cleaning. Why not? Putting this much work into it, may as well. Seems to be a little bit of, I don't know how much is acceptable, because I don't exclusively work on chainsaws, you know, but seems to be some play in the bearing on the clutch drum. I think you can see that from here. I'm going to try something. See if I can zoom you guys. Nope, can't zoom you in. Yeah, there's some play. I'm going to go ahead and bring you in and show you, before I disassemble, what I'm talking about here. And then while I'm, you know, switching from one camera on one side to the other to show you, I'm going to go ahead and do some stuff off camera. So give me a moment. Okay, first of all, this is what I was talking about the play. You chainsaw guys out there, is this amount of play acceptable? It just common sense tells me that's probably not acceptable. But I'm not specifically a chainsaw guy, so I just kind of work on whatever. As long as it's old, vintage, or antique. This is what I'm talking about. I feel like this looks like there should be some kind of bushing in this, like, cutout area behind this washer. Why else would this washer be here, and why else would that be cut out? So if you guys are familiar with McCullochs from this era, I believe early 90s is when this is from, or specifically this model, the 3818, please let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know. Alright, I'm going to put you guys back up there after I do some stuff off camera. Alright everyone, I'm back. So yeah, I did some searching online, and apparently there is no bushing that goes in here according to any... I did a part search, couldn't find anything that popped up for a bushing that went in here, and I looked at probably 20 different images of McCulloch 3818 chainsaws on Google. Could not see a single one that has a rubber bushing in here. So, I guess I was wrong. And that's fine. It's one less part I have to worry about. Now, you're probably wondering what this big old box is here. It's another Amazon package. I just forgot to bring it in earlier. So let's take a look, see what's in here. You know, I don't remember if I've ever showed you guys this knife in a previous video or not. I believe I have, but in case I didn't, or in case you didn't see it, this little knife here, it's a utility knife, like a box cutter type deal. This is solid brass. It is CNC machined, and it is made right here in the US of A by a company called Millspin. Millspin. Milspin. And if I remember correctly, that company is veteran owned or veteran owned and operated. I can't remember if it's one or both. But anyways, yeah. This box cutter was a little more than I would like to spend on a box cutter, but I like quality things. So I decided to splurge and get this. So it has two positions there, for the blade to come out that it stays in. There's halfway, right there, and then all the way. You can hear it click in place. But yeah, very nice little pocket-sized box cutter there. Love this thing. Would definitely order another. So, in here we have not one, but two organ bar and chain sets. I believe this is the one I am looking for. Yes, 18-inch bar. This should fit this saw, the McCulloch 3818. According to what I read online, this should fit. We will see. We also have a 20-inch bar and chain that should fit my three Home Light Super XLs that I recently drug home, that I found on Marketplace. I actually got two of these, and the other one's out there in the rest of the garage. But anyway, don't need that right now. I'm curious. I want to see if this will fit, and if everything lines up like it should. So I'm going to go ahead and check that out. I wouldn't say it's exactly the same. It's similar, but it does not appear to be exactly the same. Kind of disappointed. I don't know if this bar and chain is actually going to work for this chainsaw, but it looks similar to some that I've used on home lights, so I doubt I'll be sending it back. I might still be able to get this to work if I just take a whiz wheel and trim some off the back. See, back here on the other bar, let me just grab it and show you. I'm just going to put them side by side for you. Look at the very back end. This one, it cuts in further, it's more rounded, and it's open. The slot, this one is not open, and it goes back further. I'm going to line these up where the hole is for the the thing that goes into the hole in the bar for the chain tension adjustment. You can see the new bar goes back further. But other than that, looks like it might work. Oh, no. Never mind. So this bar and chain is not going to work, unfortunately. Man. Not sure where I went wrong because I Googled all the specs that I needed to look up the correct bar and chain for this, the bar mount and everything. And the one I selected on Amazon, the listing showed the correct bar mount and everything. So I'm wondering if that listing had incorrect information. This is not going to work. I do have some other new old stock bars, so I might be able to just make one of those work. So I got some, I had like 3, how do you pronounce that? Sachs Dolmar bars, new old stock. It's S-A-C-H-S Dolmar. I never understood how to pronounce that. That I slightly modified to fit other saws, home lights. Maybe I can get one of them to fit this thing. I don't know. We'll see. Tags on it. In here knocking stuff over. Alright, well, let's start disassembling and start cleaning. How does this thing disassemble? What all has to come off to split this? Well, let's get the handle off of here. Get that out of the way. I'm probably gonna take off some things that don't need to be taken off to split this, but I've never worked on one of these before, so I'm just gonna start taking stuff off, I guess, because I want to get rolling and get moving and get some stuff done. As I'm recording this, it is 2 days until Christmas. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. So work is really slow where I'm at right now, so I am actually off for like a couple of weeks, about 2.5-ish weeks. So I've just been spending a lot of time out here in the garage. Keep myself busy. Been trying to flip things. The propane heater that you may have seen in a previous recent video, a garage update video, that I had wall mounted just over here. I ended up selling that for $100. Don't remember what I paid for it, but it was less than that. So, hung on to it for a couple years and then turned a profit. So that was nice that I could at least make a little bit of money. I listed a kerosene heater because fairly recently I actually had 4 kerosene heaters sitting in this garage because usually I'm pretty good about being able to fix things, but kerosene heaters is not something that I'm good at fixing. I have tried in the past with cleaning wicks when they get all carboned up and replacing wicks, and just never really had any luck with them after messing with the wick. Just never could get them to run right after that. So I gave up on, maybe someday I'll try again to learn how to do that and I'll get it right. But for the time being, I have given up on that. And so anytime one started giving me problems, I just hopped on Marketplace and bought another cheap one that was nearby. Go and test it, make sure it works, and bring it home, use it till it don't, and then go buy another one. So I wound up with 4 of them in here. And one of the first things I did when starting to clean out this garage was I made a post on the local Facebook group for the town I live in, asking if anybody, that I had 2 that I was giving away, and if anyone wanted them. I said that the one actually worked well, but I just didn't need it anymore, and the other one needed repair. And the guy came and took both of them. I was just happy to get them out of here. And then, oh, that's something else that needs taken care of. I just realized. Thought that handle seemed a little loose. Looks like I may have a spring for that, though. Anti-vibe spring on the bottom of this handle is actually broken. It's snapped off. See if I can. See? Not connected. Anyways, I thought the handle seemed a little loose. So then I was down to two kerosene heaters. The one that's back here behind me, you can't see it, I wanted to keep because I'd always like to keep one around just in case. And then the other, I was like, well, when I get another heater set up, I'll get rid of that one. So the other one I listed today on Marketplace, hoping someone will buy it, so I can at least get something out of it. Need a wrench. It's probably 3/8. Yeah. Where is my 3/8? Ugh, it's not in here. Yeah, it is. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I know it's in here. Man, it's getting a little bit on the warm side in here. I'm actually going to have to turn that heater down. If you give me just a second, I'm going to check the temperature in here as soon as I get this bolt out. Oh, something dropped. Where'd you go, you booger? I'll come back to that. I'm going to check the temperature on my thermometer back here and then turn this thing down. By the way, I have run this thing like 4 times now and I've only gone a little bit over half a tank. Let's see. Trying to do the conversion. It's listed in liters. I've not even gone I've not even used 3/4 of a gallon of diesel yet. But that's actually not straight diesel. I have 20% kerosene and 80% diesel in case the temperature dips down really low. I do not want it gelling up. So, yeah. It is currently, holy cow, it's 80 degrees in here. No wonder it feels a little warm. So I got the upgraded version of this heater. It has Bluetooth, so I can use my phone to turn it on, turn it off, change settings, monitor how it's running, yada 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 yada. Anyway, but it also comes with a key fob. So I'm gonna turn it down. Oop. No, don't turn off. I accidentally pushed the off button. Daggone it. Whatever. It's trying to shut down now. It will not let me turn it back on. I will give it a minute and turn it back on. But, there's my missing piece. It was a washer. But yeah, I was gonna turn that down 2 notches, and I accidentally pushed the wrong button. Oh. So I guess now I'm gonna split this handle. That screw's missing. This one's in here. If I can get onto the thing. So guys, if you do want to see, if you are curious about, if you're into diesel heaters or you're curious about them or whatever, or you're new to them like I am and you want to see my setup, I do have a couple videos on the diesel heater. So you can go check those out. I just recently posted them, or uploaded them. Will you turn back on now, you turkey? Apparently it does not want to turn back on until it's gone through its complete cool down cycle. That's irritating. Note to self, don't use the key fob again. Also, if you are into diesel heaters, I am planning some upgrades in the near future for that thing, so keep an eye out for those videos. Why can I not get this? There we go. One more screw and this handle should split. One good thing about tearing them down further like I'm doing now is it gives you a chance to really inspect the saw, see things that you wouldn't normally see if you didn't split it open. So not only will I be able to give it a good cleaning, but I can also drop my tools. But I can also give it a good visual inspection, see if I find any other. Magnet on a pry bar, more useful than you would think. Get tired of bending over to get stuff. I have a lot. My back's not the best, and I got knees that are not the best. I got a bad ankle and a hip that's sometimes problematic. So I'm falling apart, guys. Yeah. So that's why I don't like bending over. If I don't have to. So there, got to disconnect the kill switch. Come on, you turkey. kind of Mickey Mouse crap is this? That is a I sort of quoted another YouTube channel that I watch frequently. If you know, you know. Sometimes you may hear me quote other channels, and you may catch that from time to time. There we go. Okay, got all the hardware out. Good. Because if not, I'll end up losing it when I go to move it, and then boom. That thing talks to you, by the way. After its cooldown, it says, thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey. Alright, it's cooling down in here, so let's turn it back on. Turn it down one more, not off. Alright, and then the last thing I have to disconnect is the throttle cable, which I'm actually going to disconnect it up here and remove it with the handle. So now that's off. Nope. Put it over there. So now we get to split the casing of the saw. And this is a nice compact unit. This would go nicely on like a bicycle frame. Getting ideas. Maybe even like an adult size like scooter. No, I'm not doing that. See which screws are actually there. There's one, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks to be all of it, maybe. Maybe. Nope. 6, 7, 8, and 9. I don't know. I'll take them off on one side, see if it splits. It probably won't, and then I'll take the ones off on the other side. That hurt. This casing feels like it's still sealed from the factory. It just kind of, you know, when you're taking something apart, you just kind of get that feeling like, man, this has never been split before. Ow. I actually really hurt that finger. That really hurts. Does this rubber come off? Yes, it does. It's kind of in my way. Ow! Whenever I go to bend my pinky, now it hurts. I really got that knuckle. That knocking is the fuel pump on the heater. It slows down once it starts really going, then it slows down. You'll hear it slow down. There. Yep. That's in there really deep, so couldn't tell if it was all the way unthreaded or not. So now we have to remove this bar and chain oil cap. And I think that might be all I have to take off to get this to split. I am going to have to take off, and it was pretty much already off, the line going from the fuel tank to the busted primer bulb. So yeah, this was going to have to come off anyways to replace that primer bulb, so... this isn't too terrible dirty on the inside. Looking around in here, there's not a ton of like buildup from sawdust, so I think I may have found why, okay, so this saw has been split before. I think I may have found why this thing was thrown in the non-running pile. Wow, that's hilarious. And now, seeing this, now I know not to make this mistake. This saw was definitely not going to run. It was not going to get any fuel. I'm going to bring you guys down here and show you what I just found. But before that, I'm going to complete what I was saying. It doesn't look like this saw got a ton of runtime. Or either that or somebody... Well, okay, I mentioned that somebody had been in here before. Somebody may have just cleaned it out. Who knows? This thing may have a lot of hours on it. I have no idea. But somebody was in here since the last time this saw was actually used. Because looking at what I'm looking at now, there's no way this saw ran and was able to... Well, there's no way this saw was able to run. So when they were in here, they may have at least taken an air gun and blown it out. I have no idea. But it's not terrible dirty in here. And what is that? What is that? There's another mystery. I'm going to have to Google that and find out what that is. So, let me bring you guys down here and I'll show you what I found. And then that is the reason why this thing was definitely not going to run. And I'll show you what I found that made me say, what is that? All right, so do you see what I see? I'm talking about this right here. The fuel line was pinched. You see it? This one going to the primer also pinched. Now, see if I can there's a cutout there big enough for one fuel line. That would be the fuel line that goes to the carburetor. The one going to the primer, I'll have to look at the other half of the casing, see if I can figure out. Okay. I don't think that has to go through anything like that. So this one should be... Man, I'm going to have to look up a diagram. I wonder if they got the two mixed up. Because it looks like this one here should be going through here and up here to the carburetor. That's what it looks like. And then this one here would probably just come over and go to the primer bulb. I'm going to have to look that up online, like a diagram for how those are routed. But anyways, this is what I said, what is that? And I had a suspicion, well, what other barbed fitting would be on here, and something that's not fuel related, and that would be bar and chain oil. So I had a suspicion this is the bar and chain oil pump, and sure enough, there's a barb. It's kind of hard to see, everything's so dirty down there. There's a barbed fitting there coming out of that, and no line going to it. So it seems as if we're missing the line for that. So I'm going to dive into this and get the other half of the casing off, because this tank cannot pull out this way because the pump is in the way. So I'm going to get you guys mounted back up where you can see everything, and take the other half off of this saw. Alright, I'm back, and I did some looking online. I found out a few things. So, first thing I'm going to mention is this oil pump down here. I could not find a hole, even using a flashlight. I could not find a hole where the line would come from the tank to the pump. I did end up finding it. It was plugged. It's right here. It still had a little bit of line in the hole, and it was plugged with debris. And even though I checked that area and wiped over it with my thumb, it still looked like there was no hole there. So, but I seen in a video that I watched that the hole indeed was there. So, yep, it is right here on the part of the tank that is facing the pump, the nipple on the pump, which makes perfect sense. I figured it was somewhere around that area, but anyways. So, when I found the correct routing for the line going to the primer bulb and the line going to the carburetor, I found the correct routing for those. So that is good. Anyway, so now let's spin this around and continue disassembly. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 more screws to pop this side of the casing off. But there's more than that. I don't see them, but I'm sure I will find them. Ah, jeez. Good Lord. So this is going to end up being a pretty lengthy video, too long of a video, if I just make it all one video. So I am not. This is probably going to be at least a 2-part video. What the? Come on. Alright, I'm going to break out a Torx screwdriver, because I believe that is a Torx in there. There we go. That's the correct size. Good night. That sapsucker is in there tight. She is tight. I feel like there may be some oxidation there, because these ones are not plastic screw thread, these are machine screw thread, so these go into the engine, like into the engine block, the crankcase. Oh, that one's loose. Good thing I found that. If I would not be tearing it this far down, I would have never found that. Wow. Oh wow, that one is so stuck that I literally just stripped it. I'm gonna break out the big flathead because these are made for a Torx or a flathead screwdriver. Nope. Can't heat it. I'll ruin this plastic casing. There's no way to get PB Blaster in there on the back side. Or any kind of penetrating oil. Let's put her up against the vise so I can really push on her. There we go. We got her loosened up a little bit. It started to turn. Still very tight though, so if I'm not careful, I could strip out the flathead slot. Not wanting to do that. Here we go. We got her. Sometimes you just gotta show them who's boss. That's why I shoved it over against the vise, threw my arm against the thing, and just really gave it to her. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I'm also going to have to remove the, that's not going to be fun, the clutch. Man. That is not going to be fun. I do not have the spark plug hole tool, like the piston stop. I don't have one of those. I always wanted to buy one and I never did. There's another method. You can shove a bunch of rope, nylon rope down in there. And I just don't really want to do that. Looks like it is left-hand thread. Got her. Just throw the impact on it and wrap on her for a bit. Now I can inspect that bearing that's in there. So I'm going to keep all this together the way it came off. Any crank shaft play? None. That's good. Alright. That spark plug boot's going to have to come off. I feel like there's another bolt that I'm forgetting or missing, because it's not really wanting to move. That bar adjustment screw head looks to be in the way. I knew the spark plug boot would be in the way, so let's get that out of the way. Man, what am I forgetting? What am I missing? Oh, no, that's not in the way. That stays with the saw. That stays with the engine. Come on. Something, somewhere is still attached. Okay, got that to move. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to remove that bar adjustment screw. Trying to see what it takes to get that out. There's like a clip on it. That clip's going to have to come off, I guess. See if I can get it off. Yep. Got her. Why do some of these projects like this one always end up being way more involved than what I originally intended it to be? I knew this one would be fairly involved, but I'm definitely diving in deeper than what I had originally intended to. And that's fine. Gives me something to do. You gotta understand that I'm actually out here doing this primarily for enjoyment. It's a hobby to me. This is a hobby to me. It just so happens that I make a little money doing it. Not a lot, but just, enough that I can justify doing it. It does supplement our household income. It's very hit and miss, though. It's not very steady. There. All right. See if she'll come now. Yep. Here she comes. There's the fuel tank. Hey, now would be a good time to empty that out. Looks like the spark plug's going to have to come out. Oh yeah, I can smell that old 2-cycle fuel. Oh buddy. I smell it. Let's do this the quick and dirty way, because I'm ready to get this thing fully split. I knew it'd come out, because I had it out before the video anyways, so. Spark plug boot can go in the spot where the spark plug was. And now, this thing is fully split. Alrighty. Cool. Looks like here we have a duck bill. Allows air in but not allow fuel out. Should probably be replaced, but it's there. It looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Oh yeah, you can smell that. Ooh. I have to save that and, splash a little on in the mornings, Here's that bar and chain oil tank, and there you can now see the hole that the line goes into for the bar and chain oil. I'm going to go ahead and wipe up this bench a little bit. It's always nice to have a clean workspace. It's going to get dirty again, but may as well wipe it off when I have the chance. Alrighty. Well, now we can kind of clean this thing up a bit. Shouldn't take much to clean this up. Spray it down with something and go hit it with some compressed air, which I'll do that off camera. What is this? Just like a shield or something. Looks like it. This line coming from the pump is nice and pliable, and it's a different size line, so that I'm going to leave alone. Or it looks like a different size line. I don't know. That looks like an OEM line. It's the black type. It's not that kind of clear greenish yellowish crap. That is actually what I'm going to be putting back in here. I'm trying to find a good source for black, good high quality rubber black 2-cycle fuel line, like what you see right here. If you know where I can buy that stuff by the spool in all the common sizes, please let me know. Reasonably priced, by the way. Reasonable. I don't want to spend a fortune on it, but I mean, I know it's not going to be free, obviously, but I just don't want to spend an absolute fortune on it. So, anyways, you know what? Let's we got this far down. Let's have a little fun. Put this spark plug back in her. This is an absolute terrible idea, but I'm gonna I might do this. Kind of thinking about just shooting a little fuel down there and just put the screw gun on here and bzz, bing, ding, 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 ding. It's probably a bad idea. Anyway, while I'm this far in it, I'm going to go ahead and take the muffler off and just kind of take a peek into the... Ooh, that screw is loose. Take a peek into the... That one's loose. They're all loose, guys. So, this is a good reason why it's a good idea to dive further in. I know you're not always going to do that, but when you get a chance to, it's definitely a good idea to dive further in it, because sometimes you'll find things that you would not have found otherwise. All three of these muffler bolts were loose. Now, on these saws, these old saws, I really like to give me a second here. I really like to take the screen out, the spark arrestor, and I wasn't going to do it on... What the heck is that? I've never seen such a thing. I'll show you in a second. I wasn't going to do it on this saw because I typically only do that on the ones I'm keeping. I don't normally do it on other people's saws or saws that I intend to sell to other people. But it looks like this one has already been deleted on. There's no spark arrestor in here. I'm sure it probably had one, and I don't see one in here. When I said, what the heck is that? There's a bubble right here. That's a freaking bubble. It has kind of a silverish, chromish kind of look to it. It's not popping. What the heck? Watch. What is in that? Almost feels like it's made of plastic. I have no idea what that was. It popped and it's hanging there. Eek. Get away from me. Look like some alien thing. Alright. But now I can kind of take a look. Is that a gasket? I know they don't always have exhaust gaskets, but sometimes they do. Now I can kind of take a look inside. This might be a somewhat low hour unit. I'm still seeing some factory cross hatching. And what I can see of this side, the exhaust side of the piston and rings, they look great. And this saw does have some really great compression, so this might be a fairly low hour unit. I see no scratches at all anywhere, and I can still see a little bit of remaining cross hatching. So this should be a pretty darn healthy engine. So that is great news. So I'm going to take some time to clean this thing up, clean up all the parts, the casing pieces, everything, with some cleaner and some compressed air, and then I'll come back for reassembly and repair. I may do some reassembly stuff off camera so the video is not too ungodly long, but we'll see. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. Hey guys, so I just looked and I realized that this video has already run longer than I intended it to for the first part of this video, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this video here. So watch for part 2, which will be coming very shortly, unless I run into any major problems. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. If you know anything about this saw that you think I should know, remember, I don't really know anything about this particular make and model. I'm not a McCulloch guy. I'm a Homelight guy. Please drop a comment. Yeah, anyways, if you've had one of these saws and you used one, let me know. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Is this a good saw? Is this a bad saw? And why? Why is it a good or a bad saw? Let me know. I'm interested to know. And if you like the kind of content that you see on this channel and you have not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Later.